All right, let's take a seat. Grace Youth, we're back. I need Dell and JR immediately. We're going to play one of my favorite games. I play it every day. Is that a round of applause for Joe and JR? Let's go. This game is affectionately known as Box of Lies. I play it every day. JR, please take a seat on the far end. Dell, take a seat on the close end. Don't know why you guys came up. Here's how it works. We have boxes, in of which are some items. Only I know what is inside. The person sitting with their back towards you all will take a box and open it, revealing the item to themselves and to all of you. They will then describe the item in as much detail or as little detail as they'd like, but the twist is that they can tell the truth or lie. Dell's job will be to guess if JR is telling the truth or lying. If he does, he wins. If he guesses wrong, JR wins. Can we get the camera on here going, Mr. Kozakowski? I'll wait for it. Huge. JR will get the first item. After this demonstration, I'll need Linnea Budek, Dylan Rickerman, Rod Montz Sr. the second, not the first, and Dylan Rickerman. Was that everyone? Oh, and Dulcie Licavoli. Please come up now. Good luck, JR. Open it. Figure out what it is. Show it to the people. Dell? It's clever, I know. Where is Linnea, Dylan, Dulcie, and Rod? Come forward. All right, JR. Please describe the Dell. What you got?
All right, Dell. You ready? Let's see. All right, it's from Kroger. All right. It's some sort of ice cream. I believe it's Rocky Road. It's an empty container. It's got some sort of fossil. Looks like a rock. I'm gonna go with a rock mixed with marshmallows.
Dell, is he telling the truth or lying? You can ask questions if you got any.
You say ice cream, right? The carton or is ice cream?
True. Show it to him. Let's go, Dell. All right, huge. JR, take that box with you. First, let's get Rod versus Dulcie. Now, this is the real game. If the boys end up with more wins, I got 2 Starbucks gift cards for them. If the girls get it, they got it. These aren't even gift cards. They're just linked to my tab. Who wants it first? Dulcie? Pick a box. Which one should she pick? Oh, interesting. Go for it. Open it up. You can lower your mask too if you need to.
All right.
You can take it out, show it to the camera, the audience. Rod.
It's a shoe filled with asparagus.
Got any questions, Rod?
What kind of shoe is it?
It's a very shoe-like shoe. I think it's got, like laces and stuff.
Do we have a brand name on the shoe? Like,
Got 10 more seconds.
Right. I think it's like a, Under Armour.
she's capping, man.
It's a lie. Show it to him, Dulcie. And take the box. Switch seats. Rod, go get a box. I mean, who knew that it would be painted blue asparagus? I mean, let's get a good look at that. Trader Joe's will give you anything you ask for. Let's get it, Rod.
Okay. Okay. It's a CD by a famous musician. It's by Kanye West. So that's good.
Like, is there something else about it? Like, is it just a CD of Kanye West?
There's some artwork on it with him. It's a painting of a panda bear riding a jetpack.
That's nice. Okay.
Final answer, Dulcie. True or false?
I think that's true.
Wrong. It was a Taylor Swift CD. You hate to see that. We're tied 1-1. Let's get Dylan and Linnea for the last two. If there's a tie, we'll play a tie break. Linnea, why don't you get a box first? Dude, Dylan gets these every time. Now let's take a look.
This is it's a box. It's a box.
Gonna need more than that.
It's yellow and purple.
Any questions, Dylan?
True.
You're just going for it? You don't want to ask a question?
No.
I mean, yeah, that is what it is. Show it to him. We got bedtime tea. It's Scotty's. It says do not use. All right, switch places. One more. You guys are up 2-1. Get it the box, Dylan. Dylan, let's take a look. There, close your eyes. Let's hear it.
It's a doll of Luke Trocchio.
Any questions?
Please explain.
It's a doll and it has Luke Trocchio's face taped on it.
I don't know why you're looking at me.
True.
The question is, do you know that that's not Luke, or do you think that's Luke? I know who it is. Who is it? And it's wrong. The guys got it. That's huge. Thank you guys for playing. You can take the box. Let's look at what was in the last one. You guys missed out on this. If there was a tiebreaker, it's a spaghetti taco. My mom's spaghetti, literally. I fried the shell. You can't eat it. Let's get the band up. Thanks for playing, guys. Come get your gift cards, Dylan and Rod. Let's do it.
Oh, hello. Hi, everyone. Hi, Dulcie. How's everybody doing today? Can we get a solid thumb gauge? Where are we at? Paul, Ryan, look at the people around you. How do you think they're doing? Check in on your neighbors. Tenderness, he sought me, weary and sick with sin, and on his shoulders brought me
explain your love, ruler of everything, worthy of all that we could bring. You are great, Jehovah, all power is yours. No song we sing can explain your love, O King. You are great, Jehovah, all power, great Jehovah, ruler of everything, our defender. You are the Most High King, great Jehovah, ruler of everything, our defender. You are the Most High King. God, you reign. No word is good enough, no song is loud enough to explain your love. Amazing, such Jehovah. No sin is strong enough, no weapon against us can contain your love. It's alive in us, Jehovah. No word is good enough, no song is loud enough to explain your love. It's amazing, such Jehovah. No sin is strong enough, no weapon against us can contain your love. It's alive in us, Jehovah. No word is good enough, no song is loud enough to explain your love. It's amazing, such Jehovah. No sin is strong enough, no weapon against us can contain your love. It's alive in us, Jehovah. No word is good enough, no song is loud enough to explain your love. It's amazing, such Jehovah. No sin is strong enough, no weapon against us can contain your love. It's alive in us, Jehovah. No word is good enough, no song is loud enough to explain your love. It's amazing, such Jehovah. No sin is strong enough, no weapon against us can contain your love. It's alive in us, Jehovah.
Lord, thanks for this night and bringing us all here. Let us hear your words through Carl tonight, and we love you. Amen.
Check. I always leave my mask up here. All right, quick, before we get into the word, and it's going to be quite a word. A few things. We have a trilogy of sorts, a Grace Youth trilogy coming up, maybe even the big trilogy. We're going to have 3 events over the spring. An After Dark event. Wait, there's a video. You can play it. I mean, that was amazing. There's the whole trilogy. We got high school game night after dark. We got a day conference where everybody will be combined, and then we'll have middle school after dark. Well, how late is after dark? I don't know, but I'm sure they'll be great. We want your input. If you have any ideas or any games you want to play, anything you want to do with these events, we have a number you can text. Throw it up, Scotty. There it is. You can text that number if you got any ideas. I'll text one in right now. I'll give you guys some time to save the number. Do what you need to do. Maybe you got something right now you've been thinking about all week. I'm going to text, let's rank the best movie trilogies of all time, even though we all know Lord of the Rings is the absolute worst of them all. Sent. If you want to dispute that, you can see me at the high school after dark or the middle school one. I might be at both. I don't know. All right. We got a bumper. Let's get it.
In the midst of my trials, I got a smile on my face. As God is in his place, and I'm not tripping no way. I know that life moves so fast, so my eyes are fixed on you, God. I know these trials won't.
Oh, yeah. Can I hear some, if there's students in the building tonight, can I hear some noise if we got any students in the building tonight? Yeah. Thank you guys so much. Hey, tonight is an awesome night. One, because we got a guest speaker of mine that's man, awesome brother of mine. But two, we actually got Grace Youth and Young Life in the building. Can we give it up for our Young Life guests here tonight in the building? Man, thank you guys so much for joining us here tonight. But I also got to make sure we don't forget about this, because Pastor Kevin hate doubling up. Well, I have to double up sometimes, so I ain't gonna forget this check in the win right here. So man, who wanna win something? Who wanna win a check in the win? Who won't tell me? I see hands all over. Let me see who we got. Do I have to pick that? It fell out. Do I have to pick that? This one got to win? No. Okay, I hear a lot of no's. Okay, we won't pick that one then. Let's see who we got. Okay, hey man, we got Alex. Agius. Who is that? You in the building because you checked in. There we go, my man Alex. There you go, Alex. Hooked you up right there. Hey man, I got some candy I want to give. I want to give away two. Can I give away two tonight? Can I give away two? I can do that. Okay. Charlie Bumgars. Where are you at, Charlie? Where you at, Charlie? Here we go. Let's go. Great job of worship tonight, buddy. Great job of worship tonight. Hey, so with that being said, man, I don't want to take up no more time, man, for my brother who, man, I'm telling you right now, he's been so awesome since moving back, man. I'm telling you, it's been fun getting to build a relationship with this guy. Like, you know, we got our own little breakfast spot. I'm telling y'all, 7 a.m. we be there sometime. So, hey, man, I cannot wait to hear what God has placed on my brother Carl Messenger's heart. If you don't know, he's over Young Life right now. He runs Young Life. And then also, man, he's back from Tampa Bay, like he's Tampa, right? Tampa, we good, Tampa? Okay, yeah, so he moved in from Tampa. So I don't know what for. I don't know why he was coming to Michigan. All of that sunny stuff in Tampa, and they just won a Super Bowl. But, hey, man, without further ado, can y'all give a warm welcome and a hand clap for my brother Carl Messenger up here delivering the word? Bring it, brother, bring it.
There we go. Well, first off, hey, thanks, Kevin. And first off, speaking of Tampa Bay, let's go. Tampa Brady, let's go. But more importantly, that anchored video, I want that cove with the boat. Is that where we're going to Florida? April 17th, we're going to Florida. Is that? Oh, if we pull a name. With the name? Anyway. Hey, no, this is really cool. My name's Carl Messenger, if you know me or don't know me. And thanks. Speaking of trilogies, Tommy, I don't know, knowing Tommy, that was intentional. But we're gonna go back to the future here for a few different reasons. But I first want to take you back to April of 2007. Raise your hand if you were born before April of 2007. Okay, it's a little more than I thought. Wait, really? Who wasn't born before April of 2007? Okay, all right. You know, it just always looks like all the hands are up. All right, there you go. That feels a long time ago, but I guess maybe not, maybe not. So April of 2007 is the very first time that I walked into this room. And I remember walking in there being like, hey, this is super cool, man. Bricks and wood and cross and lights and stuff, and it's a pretty high stage, and that's pretty cool. And so that kind of started what ended up being an 8-year run where I was on staff here at Grace as the pastor of student ministries, what Kevin's doing now, and 8 years, a long time ago. Then we were down in Tampa Bay for the last 5 years. Basically, you probably heard on ESPN there was a big trade. Basically, the University of Michigan traded Tom Brady for me, and kind of worked out, well, for Tampa anyway. But it's really good to be here. It's really good. But I want to throw back even further. 07, okay, it didn't really work. My 07 didn't work, but I'm going to get you on this one. I'm going to go back a whole other century. I'm going to go back all the way to the 20th century, the 1900s. You maybe heard about it in history class. It's this old era, long time ago, where just a few of us existed on this planet. I was one of them. And so I grew up pretty normal. Well, I wasn't normal, but a normal family, also not normal, by the way, but kind of your middle-class American family. We were kind of in and out of church, mainly out, and but occasionally we'd kind of go for a season and then disappear for a couple years. But I knew enough about the whole story, right, from Christmas and Easter and confirmation or Sunday school, stuff like that. But it didn't really resonate with me. I didn't really believe it, to be honest, and it certainly didn't mean a whole lot to my life. And so kind of fast forward to your guys' age, so middle schoolers, I was in middle school in the 90s. I actually was in high school for 2 years in the 90s. Like Nirvana, 90s, heard of? Yes! I knew my band guys would get me. Let's go. Dave Grohl, come on now. But, and I just want to say, when I was your age, if there was a word to describe what Carl was like at your age, whether you're a 6th grader, even 12th grader, I was like a chameleon, which some of you are like, I don't know what that is. And the rest of you are like, that's weird. Like you lick your eyes and change colors. Exactly. And so basically, in an effort to have an identity that I wanted, I would ebb and flow and create new ones, not even every season or year. I'm talking throughout the day, depending on which group of people I was with or around. And so, like, to the athletes, I could be an athlete. I played club soccer. I did hockey. I wasn't a football star like Joey Klunder, so I wasn't really cool, but I wanted to be. And so I kind of tried to play the athlete game, and that didn't really work out too well. And then I dated girls, right? And it's like, hey, listen, people will see me, and they'll be like, hey, at least someone likes him. There's one girl in the whole school that likes him, and so maybe he's cool. And then I would do things like class clown stuff. Like I would just try and be funny, which really, listen, if you're the class clown, I'm just going to tell you, this is just from the heart. They're not laughing with you. I'm just saying, they're laughing at you. You're not funny. I know. See? I'm telling you, it's just true. I'm helping you out. Learn it now, not when you're old, okay? And so, tried to be funny, and that didn't really work. And I tried all these different things. But the story I want to open with is actually a story that I'm not sure that I've actually really even told that often. But I was in 10th grade. And one of my teachers came up to me and said, hey, Carl, have you ever thought about joining the academic decathlon team? And I said, well, I'll be honest with you, no, of course not. Never would I ever even consider this question. What is wrong with you? That's probably exactly what I said, maybe some other words. And she said, well, hold on a second. I think you'd be a great fit for the team. I said, you must be desperate. I don't even study. I'm failing your class. She said, that's my point. She said, I've noticed 2 things. One, you're very competitive. I said, that's true. I like to win. And she's like, but I also, like, what's your grade point average? I was like, hey, I don't need a second mom. It's not that high. She's like, that's my point. It's like, you're like, what, a C average? I said, yeah, okay, I got it. Yeah, okay, fine, C average. She said, well, with academic decathlon, you compete against other kids. Some of you, nobody knows this. You compete against other kids with your same grade point average. So it's like wrestling. If you like weigh 170, you can be 170 and jacked, or like 170 like couch potato, right? And who's going to win the match? So she's like, listen, even though you're a C student, I think you're I think she said A. I'm just saying, I think she said A. She might have said B. But, like, I think you're smarter than that, and I think you would actually beat up on these not smart kids. And I said, well, that sounds kind of fun. I like beating up kids and winning. And so I'm not really sure why I did it. It's embarrassing to admit. Like, in fact, stop the recording, because I don't know if I've ever admitted publicly that I, 10th grade in high school, was a member of the Rowlett High School Eagle Academic Decathlon team. And yeah, that's about what I hope to get there. And I won the competition against those C kids. I darn did it. Yeah. And if you've ever been to a mathlete before, you kind of do the test, right? And there's you're on stage, and you're sitting at your chair, and you answer the question, and then they announce the answer. So whatever the question was, and we've answered it in our pencils down thing, and then they announce the answer, and what you're supposed to do, because you're not looking at your, I almost said fans, there were no fans, but your teammates, you would take your pencil and you just kind of do this if you got it right. And I'm not kidding. They're like, after each one, my team was like, he got it right? Like, how do you know these things? I'm like, I don't know. I just know things, Jeopardy? I don't know. But I say that to tell you that I was a one and done as a member of the academic decathlon team. I'll just be honest with you. It just wasn't my vibe. Even though I liked winning, I was like, this is not going in the yearbook. There's no pictures. Luckily, there were no phones back then. There was no Instagram. My life would have been ruined, or so I thought. And so point is, I tried sports. I tried to be cool, tried to be funny. I did band. That's a whole other story. I got kicked out of band. It was pretty special. You've heard that story if you know me. But act, smart kids, not smart kids, I tried all of it, and none of it satisfied. None of it worked. None of it actually even got me anywhere that I thought I was going as I created all of these different identities. I wanted to be like X, Y, or Z, like so-and-so. I wanted to have this. I wanted to be seen as this. And it wasn't until the end of my junior year of high school that I was introduced to Jesus, the real Jesus. I had some friends. I'm not sure why they were my friends, because I was not a good friend, but they loved me and they taught me who Christ was. And it changed my life, literally. And that just began a journey, to this day, still going, lifelong journey of growth, of me growing to learn who I am and who God created me to be, how He wired me, and accepting the things I like about that, because, well, that's easy, but also like the things that maybe I don't, or that others don't, but just knowing that's how God wired me. The Bible is filled with thousands of years of stories of normal people just like you and me. And the one that I just want to really just look at the beginning of is a couple of brothers, one named Esau and one named Jacob. They're twin brothers. Their story begins in Genesis chapter 25. If you got Bibles, you guys are turning there. You guys are so young, you're like on your phones, and it'll be on the screen. But Genesis 25, go ahead and join me there. Genesis 25, it's the first book of the entire Bible, so we're just a few pages in here. Genesis 25, and basically up until this point, God created everything. Everything was good. It was not good for man to be alone, so God creates Eve to be with Adam, and then they sin, right? And then sin goes to the whole human race to this day. You've got it, I've got it, everyone has it. And it was so bad that God flooded the whole earth in Genesis 6, saved one family, a guy named Noah and his family. And then so God promised not to do it again, but it didn't really work. And so things were bad again. And so He said, I will choose one family, one person, really, and through their lineage, I will save the entire human race. That man was Abraham. Abraham and his wife Sarah. Sarah gives birth later on to someone named Isaac. Isaac, here in Genesis 25, marries Rebekah. Rebekah is barren. She can't have children. And miraculously, later on in life, she becomes pregnant. And that's where we get into Genesis 25, verse 22. Let's read here. Says the children struggled inside her. Now, struggled doesn't really give you the whole picture. If you have a different Bible version, yours might say they warred within her, or battled, or fought. Like these are babies, they're infants in the womb, and they're fighting, which is pretty cool. And so she said, why is this happening to me? And so she asked the Lord. The Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples will be separated from within you. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger. It's like a little riddle there. What does it mean? But this is amazing, right? So this isn't like, I don't know if you've ever been around a pregnant woman before, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, cute, come see my belly, and touch it. Oh, the baby's kicking, there's an elbow, there's a head. It's kind of like that, except not cute. Like, oh, hey, they're boxing again. And why is this happening to me? Like, what is going on? I'm like, curse, what's here? They had this supernatural, she gets pregnant supernaturally, but then they're fighting. It was different than kind of what all would ever happen. And so as we look at these 2 boys about to be born, Jacob and Esau, we see that the rest of their life, as you'll see over the next number of chapters in Genesis, this was foreshadowing. These guys, not only were these brothers going to be enemies their whole lives, but they're going to go on, and their ancestors to this day and for eternity will be at war with each other. Esau will go on, his line will end up going on to be basically all of the Arab people in the world today. And Jacob will go on to be the Jewish people. And you know enough about history. You don't know enough about the 1900s, but you know enough about the rest of world history. That's been a war since, you're reading it, since Genesis 25. And so I'm going to give you 3 points to kind of apply this to our lives today. And the first one that we're going to look at here, and I think we've got slides for it, is that everyone is born with their own outlook. Jacob and Esau, brothers, twins, saw each other, saw themselves, saw the world totally differently. You, the person sitting next to you, we all have our own outlook that we're just born with. It's just natural. It's a natural way of seeing the world, natural way of seeing ourselves and seeing things. We're all born with our own version of that. It's given to you by God, and God intends for it to be used for good. However, thanks Adam, thanks Eve, we can't always do that. But everyone is born with their own outlook, their own way of seeing themselves and seeing the world. But because of our sin, it gets bent, it gets warped, right? But we're all born with one. The second point, I want to jump with the first 2 right away, and then we'll kind of tease you a little bit till we get to the third one. But the second one that comes out of that is our outlook. So this outlook that we each have, it will dictate our thinking patterns. It will inform the way we think. It will inform the way we see things, which will also inform the way we feel and the way we see. And so we all have our own outlook, and our outlook dictates our thinking pattern. Let's continue our story here in verse 24. So the time came for her to give birth. They've been fighting these old 9 months, and they're coming out. Twin boys in her womb. The first to come out was red. He was red. And his whole body was like a hairy garment. And so they named him Esau. You know anybody named Esau? That would be horrible. Yeah. So no Esau's around here anymore. But that was him. He was hairy. After this, his brother came out with his hand grasping Esau's heel. And so they named him Jacob, which is really interesting. So again, instead of this really cute moment, oh, look at the babies. There's 2 of them. This one's a little red and pretty hairy. And then, oh, look how cute. He's grabbing his foot. How sweet. How cute. No, it's like, dude, this second one, Jacob, has been trying to be first for 9 months, and he just couldn't get it done. Now, if any of you have siblings, you know full well what a sibling rivalry is, right? Like where you're always fighting war. And so my brother's 3 years older than me, so I had to claw, cuss, fight, strive to just keep up with him. I just had to. So if you're the younger sibling, I feel you. All right, if you're older sibling, jerk. But that's basically this, right? So it's natural. But here's the other thing. If you have any siblings, like you may have a great, I've never fought in my life, liar. But you also know how different siblings can be, right? So my brother has twin daughters, and they are twins. They are identical twins. I look at them, I can't tell the difference. But if I'm around them, okay, Val, you can, but if I'm around them for a minute, they couldn't be more different. It's like, oh, that's Brooklyn, that's Bella. Like they are totally different people. They're twins. Everything is this. They look the same, but they are completely different people. I got a picture of our family, I think. I said, yes! So that's me with when I used to take care of myself. And that's my wife, Liz. She's so pretty. But over on, I guess, at the left. Anyway, on the end there in the green, that's Avelia. Avelia's our oldest child. And she's already interrupted me, actually, during the sermon, which is perfect for this. But she is a natural leader. She's very opinionated. She's very strong. She's her father's daughter. And then on the other end is Josephine. She is, we call her Josephine, actually. She's full of joy. She's so sweet. She's so obedient. She's so focused. She's Liz's kid. And then the other girl in the front, that picture is like, what is going on in that head right now? Luciana, she's like all of the above to the max and more. Like, she's so full of zest for life and fun and donuts. And like, we call her the life of the party that like she wasn't even invited to, but it doesn't matter. She just makes it a party. Like, they are so different and fun. And then little Sammy K, Caden down front, he's just a simple kind of man like his dad. Hockey and food, that's basically it. There's not really anything else to that. And Tom Brady and whining. Yeah, maybe whining. But from the day we met them and that they were born, they were so different. It's just, we're wired that way by God in the womb. And as we grow at your age and older, on my age and older, we're constantly growing, but we're living and walking and breathing and acting and reacting out of this outlook that has been wired in us from the beginning. And we can see it in Jacob and Esau, but for the sake of tonight, can you see it in yourself? Can you see that you have a natural outlook on yourself and on things and on others? And then can you kind of see that sometimes it's a little warped? And it's a little bent. Maybe your eyes are too much on yourself. Think too highly of yourself. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you think too low of yourself. Maybe you hate yourself. Maybe you don't like the way God made you. We're all the ways in between there. But we all have an outlook. And we'll tell ourselves things like, well, I just wish I had this or that, or I wish I was like so-and-so, or I wish I could fit in with this group or that group or these people, or I wish they thought this of me. I get it. I've been there. It's real. That's a real struggle. And you'll see everything through that lens. But we see here in the text here, in verse 27, we learn a little bit more about Esau and Jacob. So Esau was a skilled hunter. I mean, he's just like dad's guy. Like, let's go kill something. Let's have a catch. Like, let's go eat some red meat because you're red and hairy, and that's what guys do, right? And so that's but then Jacob on the other side, the complete opposite, right? It's like he's a home buddy, right? And he's quiet. He's just a mama's boy, right? So I kind of picture, I sent a couple pictures here. This is dating myself. I don't even know if Brawny still makes paper towels, but basically here's Esau, right? He's got this strong, look at that chin. I mean, you punch that, you got a broken hand, you know what I'm saying? And the beard, it's trimmed it up to be a little more modern. But, it's got the plaid and look at that chest. I mean, what's up? You mess with Esau, you get messed with, right? But then we've got, on the other hand, we've got Jacob, who'd be like Bieber. Turn back the clock, Bieber. All right, this is pre-tats, pre-tough guy. He's not that tough. I'd take Bieber any day. But that's Jacob right there. Just a pretty boy. Oh, I should probably, you guys got to check these. You can't put anything I send you up there. Go to the next slide. Who's proofreading this? Jeez. Oh, man. Well, nice knowing you guys. But here's the deal. Esau, the buff guy, right? The meat eater, go kill something. He's not more of a man than Jacob. And Jacob, mama's boy, he's not better than Esau. Neither one is better. They're just different. Neither one's right. Neither one's wrong. And it's the same for us. We all have our differences that God has given us. And so how do we live in a home, in a class, on a team, in a church, in a room with people that are totally different than us? And we can just get caught up in the lie that on either side, that I'm better because I've got more. I'm better because I got more money. I've got more friends and likes on Instagram. I've got just a better house. I know more scripture. I mean, I got an ACTEC medal somewhere in my mom's basement. Like all these things, like it's all these things that we can think we're better than or that we can think we're worse than. I don't have as much money. I don't have as many friends. I don't have as many likes. I don't get invited to things. I don't have friends. I don't have a girlfriend, boyfriend. And we feed these lies, just perpetuate in our heads. But you're not more and you're not less. You're equal. You're the same. Verse 28 says that Isaac, so the dad, had a taste for wild game, that he loved Esau. Rebecca had a taste for brownies, and so she loved Jacob more. And it's like, what? Like, no, parents aren't supposed to have favorites, right? But you're sitting there saying, yeah, they do. That wasn't a joke, Dal. I mean, I'm serious. Some of you are living it like, no, like, I'm not the favorite. You know, for me growing up, I was my dad's favorite, I'm not going to lie. But not my mom's. Oh, mama. Not even close. But it was opposite for my brother. Like, he was mama's boy. He's kind of wimp like Bieber. That's a good point. But, just kidding. He's bigger than me, actually. But he has the issue with my dad. And so you might be sitting there being like, I can't measure up to my parents. Or, you know, if you're here and you're a guy, you're like, I just love to connect with my dad. But he's not around. And girls too, maybe even more so, right? But we don't connect. He doesn't like me. I don't think they like me. Or your mom, same thing. And so you do feel like, yeah, I get it. I get the whole favorites, the mom and dad thing. And I'm sorry. But if you look at Jacob and Esau, we see that Esau was just kind of simple. He just liked to do stuff. But Jacob was always a few steps ahead. He was cunning, always trying to trick people. That's what his name means. And look what happens next in verse 29. There it is. Jacob just home cooking. This is Martha Stewart. That's also from the 90s. And Esau comes in from the fields, and he's famished. What a word. And so he said to Jacob, quick, dude, I'm so glad you're cooking. I knew you'd be cooking. That's all I ever do. But great, give me that red stew. I'm starving. Listen, my kids come in, I'm starving. No, you're not. You go 21 days without eating. You know that? That's right. So maybe he's down a long hunt. He's starving. He's going to die. And that's what happens here, right? He says, dude, give me the stew. And so Jacob, come on. You're Jacob. What do you say? You say, all right, yeah, sure. I'll give you just a little bit just to keep you alive. He says, you can have some stew if you sell me your birthright. Now, birthright, basically, this is a huge deal. Basically, just to put it in simple terms, give me your inheritance. Inheritance. Now, remember, Esau's the firstborn. There's a thing called right of the firstborn. You don't need to bore yourself with that. Basically, give me your inheritance for this stew. And Esau says, well, what good is my inheritance? I'm about to die. It's like, wait, who's Bieber all of a sudden? I guess Esau's the little baby here. He just, go kill something, right? So he agrees to it. And Jacob's like, I can't believe you agreed to this. Here's your stew. Here's some bread. Here's a drink. At your service, my liege, for an hour. But then look at this, the last verse there, verse 34. He gave him the stuff. He ate it. He got up and left. And Esau despised his birthright. Esau regretted the temporary satisfaction of trading his inheritance for a bowl of soup. I mean, talk about a ripoff. And then Jacob being the cheater, you can see why these guys hated each other. Our third point, the final point I just want to look at here, is as these guys built these strongholds against each other, is that when we look at others, we want their outlook. We want their life. We see what they have, and we want it. And so you'll either be dumb like Esau and just settle for anything, or you'll be tricking people like Jacob, and that's no good either, even if you get ahead. But we want what other people have. We think the grass is greener somewhere else, but it's greener where? Where you water it, right? Water your own lawn. Now, if we look at our identities, this Like Me series, I don't know if you guys have ever taken like personality tests or not. Like Enneagram is kind of really popular now, or like Myers-Briggs if you're like, in college or business or something. But apparently I'm pretty unique. According to Myers-Briggs studies of Americans, only 1.8% of Americans have the same letters, the same study results as I do, ENTJ. Basically, that's what Napoleon had. So basically I'm brilliantly mean and a bad guy. And so I don't know if that's good or bad. It's probably both. But it's just how I am. It's how God made me. It's how God wired me. And Jacob and Esau, it wasn't that they had to be bad. It was how they were wired. And it's what they did with it. And so for all of us, as we're growing in our identity, as we're becoming hopefully more and more like Jesus and less like Napoleon, right? The body of Christ ought to be the safest place to come and be known and be loved and to be around people that are different than you. There shouldn't be a safer place on the planet than right here. Being with other brothers and sisters, no matter how different you are. I was going to read a quote from C.S. Lewis because, it wouldn't really be a Carl sermon if I didn't. You can throw it up there. I'm just going to, just for sake of time, just blow through a few things. But C.S. Lewis in his masterpiece, Mere Christianity, it's required reading for heaven, by the way. You should pick it up. But he describes this very thing. And he says, what can we really know about other people's souls? About what good things they have and what bad, like their temptations, their opportunities, their struggles. Like you look at someone else and you think you know them. You think they've got better opportunities or different struggles. No, we're all the same. And basically what he says is there's one soul, there's one other person, one person on this entire planet that you have any control over, and it's yourself. And he says, at the end of the day, at the end of your life, as all the thing goes away, he uses a phrase like some sort of fog, like this idea. What does he call it? It's I think it's the next one. Yeah. So he says in the parentheses there, he says, you won't even remember it, but when the anesthetic fog, wow, 1950s English, let's go. But when all of life disappears, what will be left? You in the presence of God. He's like, and what you'll realize is that's all it ever was anyway. But we spend all this time on everyone else and everything else and what people think of us. And we want people to like me and we want them to be like me and I want to be like them. But at the end of the day, it's you and it's God and it's His presence. That's even how the entire Bible ends. C.S. Lewis was able to write this as a 50-year-old, looking back on his own life and saying, man, I don't even remember all the things that kept me up at night, all the things that I hated. But I do know, as I look back, that there was one that was with me the whole time. It was Christ. The Apostle John, at the very end of the Bible, the second to last chapter of the entire Bible, Revelation 21, he has a vision of heaven, a revelation, or they call it that. And he describes that in heaven, one day when we are all stripped away, the anesthetic fog is gone, and it's us and God, that all tears will be wiped away, that all our insecurities won't matter, all of our hurts will be healed, and on the throne will be Jesus. And Jesus said in this vision, behold, I make all things new. That's what Jesus does. When I was your age, I didn't really get that. I'm still learning what that's like, what that means in my life, in the life of my family, my friends. But it's the truth. All the things you're going through, hey, it's real. I'm not minimizing anything. I've been there. I get it. And your leaders get it. And we want to walk with you on that. That's why we're here. We've been there. We know. All right, and so share. You come to us. We're safe. God is safe. But at the end of the day, God is there and always will be there. As we looked at the covenant between Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, on down the line here to Jesus, we see the Old Testament, this promise that one day God would come, and then Jesus comes. And so the promise in the Old Testament is fulfilled in Jesus. And then John gives that revelation that one day again, the second coming, he will come back for us. Or if we die before then, we'll be with him. And as we look at who God is, and you're in this room, and I don't want to venture to guess where any of you are at. Again, at your age, I was nowhere near God. And so you might be there. I went to some youth group stuff, usually like the fun nights, trilogy nights, right? But I didn't get it. It wasn't until later that some people helped me see it. And so as you look at who Jesus is, and you've heard the stories, you just got to look at how he came, what he fulfilled, what he promised, and then what he'll mean in your life, and the life that he'll call you to. And so what do you do with that? What do we do with this series? Like, how do we look at our identity? We don't want to destroy our destiny like Kevin talked about. Like, if we want to grow to be more and more like Jesus, how do we do that? Well, I think the answer is actually in the first verse that we read. You may remember, it was a small little thing in verse 22 where Rebecca's like, why is this happening to me? If you remember that. But then what did she do? She asked the Lord. You guys, man, if we had that text thing that Tommy was doing about texting what's on your heart and your mind right now, we'd be here all night, and it'd be beautiful. It'd be awesome. There'd be so many great answers, so many hard things that you're going through, that you're feeling, that are weighing you down. I'm talking sixth graders, I'm talking your leaders, I'm talking me. That would just be just stuff. And what do you do with that? Do you just stuff it? Do you just hide it? You can try that. It's going to be painful, and it's not going to go away. Or you know what you can do? Do what Rebecca did. Ask the Lord, Lord, why is this happening to me? That's a fair question. You can ask God anything. God, why do I feel this way? Why does so-and-so? Why do they not? Why do I? Why wish I? Ask the Lord. And as I said, there's no safer place to ask those questions than among the body of believers. So I want to close just praying over us, and then Kevin's going to come up and just kind of direct kind of where we're going to go the next few minutes here. But let me pray. Lord, you are good. Whether we feel that way right now or we don't, God, whether we are coming in here feeling like $1 million, or we're coming in here and we don't know the slightest thing about you. I get it. I've been there. But Father, I pray that whether people are here as part of Grace Youth or Young Life or Wildlife, that we would come desiring to know you better and to know you more. Lord, you do great things, and we know that you desire to do that in our lives. And so I pray, like Rebecca, that we would turn our eyes to you and say, Lord, what are you up to? Lord, what do you have for me? Lord, what are you calling me to? And so, God, I pray a blessing over every person in this room or watching online, that they would go from here, that they would be spurned to action, to follow you better and deeper and courageously as they go back into school, as they go home, as they hang out with their friends, Lord, that they would be your agents, your people. Lord, we love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen, amen, man. Can y'all give it up for my brother Carl Messenger right here? Awesome message, brother, man. Thank you so much. And I pray you guys heard his last push, the last challenge. How can you leave here asking God, what are you expecting out of my life? How are you wanting me to use my identity? How are you wanting to use the uniqueness that you created me for? Not comparing myself to other people, but how are you using me specifically to be called out to this world? So I pray you take that challenge that he mentioned to you guys. And so now I got a few housekeeping things before we get ready to transition to our areas. Young Life, Wildlife visitors and whatnot, we thank you guys so much for joining us. Hey, we're getting ready to transition to our small groups. Man, we would love to have you guys join in on our small groups, grade appropriate, gender appropriate small groups. But hey, feel no pressure to kind of stick around. If you had your ride come get you at a certain time, man, like that's no pressure to stay. But man, we would love to have you guys join us. And so with that being said, I'll kind of direct you with kind of some of where our areas are. So up top here, up in the balcony area, is our high school girls section. So you'll be kind of up there, our 10th through 12th grade girls. So if you 10th through 12th grade girl, you'll be heading up there. If you're a 9th grade girl, you'll be heading down to Theater B, and that's where their small group will be. High school boys, they'll be kind of like spread out throughout our building in our lobby area. 11th grade boys over here in the corner. 12th grade boys are in the library. 10th grader in the cafe area, and then our 9th grade boys are in the garage area up there, kind of where you checked in at. All of our middle school small groups will be downstairs in our L rooms downstairs. And so with that being said, also leaders, can you please make sure that your group doesn't transition until you have all of your students. So students, that means don't go to your area without being with your leader or whatnot. We've been getting a lot of traffic. And Pastor Kevin be having to search these bathrooms. But if I had to come and find you in the bathroom, we're going to have some issues now. So wait on your leader to gather you up. So, man, you are dismissed. Have a great time in small group. Leaders, gather your students up. Head to your area. Thank you guys so much.